Don't pretend you're no good, 'cause I can see your sunshine dripping out your sleeves onto my lifeline. Oh, good. Oh, you didn't mean to leave a trail for me, but you didn't know I'm Trevor. It is. It's alright with me. If it's alright with you, then I could be whatever it is that you need me to, my love. 'Cause you're golden. 'Cause you're golden. Let me shine like one would be if they hadn't been loved right. Sleeping all the time, I know why you stay inside. Safer to save your life. Whatever it is, it's alright with me. If it's alright with you, then I could be whatever it is that you need me to, my love. 'Cause you're golden. 'Cause you're golden. Golden morn. 'Cause you're golden. see emerald skies, imagination over time. Say you need to go find yourself. What if you stayed this time? Won't you stay? Baby, won't you stay with me? We can find a way. You just make me feel complete. Won't you stay? Stay with me and let's see. I can see the way you move. Please don't be afraid. I can see the lights were true. We can find a way. Stay with me and let's see. Baby, won't you stay? Baby, won't you stay with me? We can find a way. You just make me feel complete. Won't you stay? Won't you stay with me? We can find a way. You just make me feel complete. Stay with me and let's see. Stay with me and let's see. Baby, won't you stay? Baby, won't you stay with me? We can find a way. You just make me feel complete. Won't you stay?
All right, so let's switch the scenes. Hello, good morning, everyone. Great to see you all here. Hello, Minu. Hey, Train of Thought. Hey, Ariba. It's great to have you all. Welcome to Flutter Explained. Welcome to my Max. Today, we want to talk about Serverpod, or better, we want to learn it. The reason is I was asked from the founder of Serverpod, I think months ago now. I'm really sorry, I'm really slow with things like that. And he requested if I could make a video. And I want always first to have a big understanding what it is, how it works, before I really do something like that and announce it or promote it. And as you saw the last Flutter news, I was already investigating a little bit into it, and honestly, it sounds very promising, and it solves a lot of problems that I believe Dart had in the future with other server-side frameworks. But yeah, let's see it. I hear already Minu created a VS Code extension for it. Let's see, should I really use VS Code again? You know how bad and slow I am with VS Code, but yeah, maybe we do that. But first, before we go directly in code writing stuff and so on and so forth, I just want to give you a short overview what we really want to achieve or what I want to work for on it. I would like to create a journaling app with Serverpod today. That means I can write a title, a body, and if I press save somewhere on a server, it should be stored what Serverpod has. Before we do that and start writing code, as I said, we want to have first a look into what is Serverpod, what does it mean, a server-side framework, and why is it even necessary to have such a thing again. And we go through the website. We want to really live learn. That means I will make mistakes today, a lot of them probably, and I really hope that you will support me whenever I have going into problems there. You're good, that's great, me too. So I have prepared my water here. I have prepared my coffee, so I think I'm as good as I can be, I guess. So yeah, I would say let's get started, right? Let's cracking and let's go to the live view here. So, and as you saw, I prepared already a little bit of things. So for example, I go here to the serverpod.website. Hey, fun with friends. Then we have the Serverpod website. We will take a look here in a second. I just want to give you a first understanding what it is. As I said, it is the missing server of Flutter. Well, there is Shelf, of course, there are other packages, but what Serverpod really does great is documentation, and it keeps somehow a real framework. That means it keeps everything at one place and you don't have to search it. Such, for example, if you use Shelf, there are so many packages and you have to collect all these little things and connect everything together so that at the end it really works for you, and that can be a little bit of cumbersome. If you have never worked with Serverpod, but you come maybe from a Java engineering perspective or from a front-end perspective, JHipster is something that I used in the past already when I worked in Switzerland, and it is somehow similar. It offers you a broad range of toolings and sets, so you can very easily set up a server and front-end side. In this case, I think it was Spring Boot from Java, and as you see already on the left side here, you have everything like some task engines. JDL was an own programming language for Java Hipster that then created you the APIs and generated that for you, and so on and so forth. So it was a beast of a tool, and as you can see down here, it is with all the web applications. Where is it? Here, with all front-end web applications possible. It had a lot and tons of server-side options and deployment options and CI/CD options. But Serverpod does not give you these options. It's Dart and Flutter in the front end, and I think that's fine. Additionally, what I like about Serverpod is that they allow you to create the front and back the front end code and back the end code to connect the API seamlessly. That you can see here pretty easily. Avoid mistakes generating code. So if you have a server endpoint that you create, endpoints are the things that you call in your browser and it will do something. And if your client is connecting to it, this is generated. So that means if you have written an endpoint, for example, you can generate the client code. And if you have the client code, you generate the server code. That helps you a lot, and it will reduce timing where you have to code things, and it will reduce also error problems here. We are working on Serverpod, and we will learn together Serverpod. We will talk about the different things of it. We maybe create some small app with it. And yeah, I can't promise that I will finish the app as always, you know me, but I just want to give you first a broad overview about Serverpod in general. Yeah, and where comes this idea from? I have taken two frameworks that do something similar. The first one is OpenAPI. If you have never heard about OpenAPI, it is something similar. It creates you the front end and back end side code for the API endpoints to connect well. The benefit here is I think you write a YAML file, and in this YAML file you specify how the API should look like. So let's say you have a team for the backend and a team for the front end, then they don't have to really collaborate anymore, like, hey, how do you get this information? Or you have to ping it once to get the information. This Open API sets a fixed definition and you just generate code out of it to make sure that these API endpoints work correctly together. That also means if you have new versions or anything like that, you don't have to worry as long as the YAML file stays up to date. All the client and the server side stays up to date. Another way to do that is from Google, and it's called gRPC. gRPC are remote procedure calls. It is a complete different approach, but as you can see, it is language agnostic more or less, and there is also a Dart framework for it. But as you can see, it is again, yeah, it's somehow it's lost and you have to go again to a different documentation. You have to split that whole tool again. And Serverpod tries to connect all these pieces together to create a server-side framework or a full stack framework actually that allows you to create Flutter apps with a full backend that you need with the API generation and everything. So I hope that was correct. If not, Minnow, you are the expert. Give me a shout. There are also some additional benefits. Like as you can see, we have logging in place. It seems that we have built-in caching. ORM is an object relation model, I think, or something. It's like on top of your database. So if you have a database under the hood, you use ORM as software side. You write code for it to access that database and create objects for it. And it makes sure that your database stays connected with your code, which is pretty cool. Then there are backend possibilities like file upload, authenticating, data streams, task scheduling. I mean, this is marketing text. Would it be possible to reduce the volume of the music a little? Of course. Sorry if it is too loud. I reduce it even further. So I hope it's better now. You have monitoring tools and so on and so forth. And what I love the most is it connects very well with Docker. I think it is even Docker first implemented. That means we will use Docker today. If you don't know what it is, it's object relation mapping. Yeah, thank you. Relational mapping. Okay. If you have never used Docker, Docker, how can I explain Docker now in few words? Okay, you create an abstraction layer on top of your OS system. That means, for example, we have a Mac OS here, right? And with Docker, you create like an abstraction level for that, usually in Linux. I don't know why this is the case, but mostly it's in Linux. I think you can set up the Docker even what it should emulate. So in our case, it will be probably Ubuntu or Debian or anything like that. And this abstraction layer tries then to connect only the important things to your main OS system. And on this OS that you created with Docker, you can put all applications, and it is like in its own box at the end, like in a container. And this container contains your code and connects with the important things to your OS that it needs. And the cool thing about it is it's completely encapsulated and you are not in fear that it tries to spread out into your system. What does that mean? If you install something locally like Node.js, you probably know how difficult it can be to hold the versions correctly. With Docker, you can say you only want this version, and whatever version you have installed in your main OS system, the Docker container will only contain that version of Node.js. This is very important for CI/CD projects. It's very easy to ship applications and so on and so forth. And it makes development processes, especially in the server side, super convenient because you have everything on that. I know that was not 100% correct what I'm told now, because there is even more to it, but this is like the broad idea of Docker in the long run. I will use today Docker Desktop. This is for free as long as you are a free developer, or if you don't earn, I don't know how many billions per year, as long as it is free for you. And there are also other open source alternatives to Docker Desktop, but it's just very convenient. So you can see if I go here to the dashboard, I can see my latest developments. You see my Flutter website is currently running on a Docker image. You see all the images that I have installed. You can see volumes. This is like the hard drive of a Docker image, and so on and so forth. So it is quite impressive. But as you see already, Serverpod is nothing that you do in one day. You know, that's a set of tools. You have a lot behind of it. It's not just, hey, getting started with Dart. It is really a lot of different tools that you need to know and learn about before you can really dig deep inside of it and create amazing products with it. So take your time, don't rush it through, because you need to understand a lot of things before you really be productive and efficient with it. Okay, so please do project at least intermediate level. Yeah, I would start with a journaling app. I think whatever we say, if it's full stack, usually it is already intermediate, because yeah, you cannot just do it. It's just a question if we finish it. All right, getting started. We don't watch the video yet, but I know that the founder of Serverpod is really into it. He makes a lot of marketing. I think he created a company around it. So yeah. Will you do a series? Maybe. It depends if you like it and if the interest is high. So if you like that video, you know. Of course, I will think about make a video series about it and be a bit more deeper into it. Today it's just live learning. I want to understand how it works. I would like to take you on that journey too. So yeah, let's see how far we come today. Good. So as we can see, we want to have a terminal, because now we are going into the getting started part. And as you can see, there is a Serverpod CLI that we can install. The question is, have I installed it already? I guess so. But I updated Flutter quite a while, so it could be, yeah, okay, there is something that needs to be downloaded, so let's do that. So as you can see, we have some prerequisites. We will need Flutter in version 3.7 or later, and we need Docker. As I said, there is Postgres or Redis running on top of it. So Postgres is a database and Redis is also a database. There is a difference. Postgres is, I think, a relational database, pretty standard to SQL. And Redis is something freaky. I think the name is something different. In-memory data store, blah, 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 caching. Yeah, it's very minimalistic, I think. And it stores data in... There was something different to it. I think it is clustering or something. So it's also a funky new database. Very interesting to read into it. I think Redis is also very famous for AutoGPT. So yeah. More RAM cache. Okay, great. Thank you. Good. So in the meantime, let's see how far we are. Yeah, so Serverpod is now installed. You can do that by running this Dart pub global. As I said, this is now installed locally on my OS system. That means whenever I enter Serverpod, it will run the command that is there. If you have ever asked for how this is working, hey, Mr. Fricker, nice to see you. If you have ever asked how this is working, this works with environment variables, and thanks to the terminal is executing something in your pub cache, and this exists on your OS, so that's why Serverpod is now available globally. Okay, so the installation is running. We have set that up. Serverpod Insights is a companion app bundled with Serverpod. It allows you to access your server logs and health metrics. Okay. It's currently beta, only available for Mac OS. Okay, that's good. So we can showcase that too. Download the... do I have that installed already? Server... I have something installed with Serverpod. Let's see what that is. Geez, what's that? Let's download that quickly just to have it. I think it makes sense if we are working on this project, trying to get also as much detail as possible. So let me quickly install that. It was already the correct one. So probably we need actually an account for it. By the way, don't miss out my podcast that arrives today. It will be here on YouTube and on the podcasting app of your choice. And yeah. I just quickly make an account here. Sorry that we have to wait a second. So, check your mail as always. Troop, troop, troop. Good. So now we have that, and we have this nice little projects overview. I think we can then create new projects or add new projects. We will do that together, I think. Let's see where we come to. Good. To get your local server up and running, you need to create a new Serverpod project. That makes sense. Make sure Docker Desktop is running. I have that up here. This can be probably any Docker software that you are using. Docker Desktop is just one of them. And now running Serverpod create. Okay, so creating a terminal. Going to projects, we have my favorite. This is now a Flutter and Dart project. So what I will do is I will call that others in this case. And let's create that new Serverpod create my pod. I think my pod is the name of the create new directory my pod. Yeah, so this is the name of the project at the end. So what I will probably do is calling that my journal. Double checking if the name is correct. Looks good. You get a warning for Windows. Yeah, if you are checking, if you want to install this Serverpod Insights, you can see it here that it is only supported at the moment macOS, but it will be there for in the future for multiple options. So probably that is the reason why you get errors here. So we get a lot of stuff. Oh geez, there happens a lot. Woo. Okay, let's quickly go over that to see what it does, because that is quite some magic, I guess. So we create the project, and inside of here, this is our server, and it creates some PostgreSQL data files, some YAML files, configs. Okay, so it creates a bunch of files for us. Also for AWS, interesting. Then it will execute dart pub-get, gets all our packages, and that in different folders, it looks like. So once in this myjournal server for the Dart dependencies on creating the project. Oh, that's interesting. Did you check if your PowerShell is allowed to create new files? So if you are in administrative mode, for example. Because in Windows, sometimes it can be that you are not allowed to create files or execute several commands if you have not the right rights in PowerShell or terminal. Hopefully, yeah, honestly, I would wish for something that is just with that circle. So creating your project server side, getting the dependencies server side, and then, you know, but I think, is Serverpod open source actually? I think it is, right? We have the GitHub repository here. So what we could do is creating an issue for that and probably also solve that. But yeah, don't go too much into it. Something I really enjoy is always that you can see the code, you can work on that, and it seems open source completely, right? It's BSD free. Yeah, it's completely open source. Great. So even better, even better. Can't say anything to that. It's great. Is there anything that I should... Ah, here's also Victor Litterhot. I think that is the owner of it, more or less, so who developed... Hey, and Minu is second. Haha! Here we have him. Okay, cool. So Minu, you are quite active with Serverpod. Good job. Love that. It wasn't merged yet? Okay. So how does the inside look like? Is it still developed? Yeah, it's still developed. So maybe if Victor is hearing that, please merge it. Cool. Anyway, we have created now this Serverpod project, and let's go quickly over it. So as I said, the server side has getting all its dependencies. And what is interesting here, we have Redis here already. We have Serverpod, client, serialization. Is there anything that points out UUID makes sense? YAML, interesting. HTTP parser, crypto. It's for cryptographic stuff. Okay. Nothing too fancy. Stack trace is a bit weird. But yeah, okay. So just the default stuff, and mostly important is probably the Serverpod stuff. Then we have the My Journal client. This is the Flutter app at the end. And here we can see we have already WebSockets installed. We have streams, string scanner, the serialization part, the client, some HTTP stuff. There's a newer version available. Interesting. Good, good. And from there, what happens next? Some iOS stuff. Recreating projects with Windows, iOS, Android. So this is just the creation of the Flutter app. Okay. Interesting. So I can now join into the Flutter application and start it. Setting up Docker and default databases. So we have the My Journal server. If you run Serverpod create for the first time, this can take a few minutes. Okay, it didn't. Docker is downloading the images. Yeah, the reason is I already downloaded and used that once. So I have already the Redis package and the Postgres package image. So it doesn't have to be downloaded from Docker Hub, which is like, I talked about these containers, and there are some predefined containers in the World Wide Web. And they are around, as you can see here, 300 megabyte or something big. And they have to be downloaded to your system if you want to use Docker locally. So I did that already. That's why it was pretty fast. We created all these volumes. This is like the hard drive connections, network connections, and different containers. Probably they are all offline at the moment. Yeah, so you see here we have now the My Journal server with these Postgres and Redis server underneath of it. And as you can see, they are currently exited. That means they are not running. The reason is, I think after the Flutter Serverpod create, it's not really starting anything. And you can see here is the commands, how we can start up the server, for example. So if we want to start up the server, and I guess we want, right? So let's go to the My Journal server. Docker compose up, build, and detach means that we don't want to watch the logs here in this case. So if I do that, we have started that, and we don't see the logs now inside of our terminal. What does that mean? If we go again to our dashboard, this is now green and running. And if I click here inside, we can see all the logs that we get inside of the Docker container. That's pretty useful from time to time to have that running in your terminal, especially if you are interested what's happening. For this example, I would recommend you to use a terminal that I don't know if I have it even installed anymore, but iTerm2, because iTerm2 allows you to create a different, we can do that actually quickly, because I think that's quite useful. iTerm2, especially if you are working on macOS, I love that. Let's see if it's, yeah, I'm quick, I can do that. And honestly, I'm a bit surprised that I don't have installed it anyway. So it's a new MacBook, you know, then things are getting weird. So iTerm has the benefit, in my opinion, that you can create multiple, how was it? Split plane horizontal and vertically. And what I love about that is if you do that, you can run have your Docker stuff up here, and down here you can work on that. So if I would execute this serverpod command up here, then all the logs would go into here. And I think we can even do that. For that, I will close that one and make that stop. And for that, we go now to the projects, others, and it was My Journal and My Journal server. So, and I completely forgot what the command was. I guess serverpod. No, it was Docker compose. Docker compose up, build, and now without detach, it should give me all the loggings up here. So we can see now that the database accepts our connections, and you can see we have one time a Redis database running for the RAM things, and we have one time a Postgres stuff to make bigger savings. I'm not quite sure why we have both. I really have to read into that, getting interesting. But yeah, let's see. So we have our first project. We have now, if we open up, I will take VS Code, so Minu is happy. And we also can install the extension. I guess it will be the name Serverpod, probably. Here we have it. Yep, from menu. Great stuff. Still development, creating a Serverpod project, generating and watching client code, running and stopping server from debug. Oh, interesting. Code snippets and so on. So let's install that too, I think, and give it a star. Can I give it a star somewhere? I think on the marketplace, probably. No. Repository, here we go. Yeah, star it. Supporting the community as always. I shared a link quickly with you that you also find it easily. Good, so we can start our first project, and now let's have a look into what we have got here. So if I go to Files, Open Folder, and I navigate to, we go to Projects, Others, and now here we should have My Journal. And as you can see here, we have the 3 different parts of it. So the thing is, interesting, we have a client, Flutter, and server. Now let's read quickly, but I have a thinking about what happens here. So the server package is the package that contains all the server-side code. That was clear. So with API, with getting data, with database, and so on and so forth, lives inside of the server folder. Then we have the client folder, and it is exactly as I thought. It is the generated code for the API. So as I said to you that the code of the API gets generated, this code is for the communication between the server and the client. That means probably that the Flutter app will have this package as a dependency, and whenever the client is updating, the Flutter app has to be updated here too, so that there is a connection. So we have these 3 projects, and now I'm getting interested. How would I work now? Would I open up the My Journal, so like a monorepo, and have all 3 opened? I guess that will lead to some problems, because I think yeah, we can do that. My Flutter stuff will not take in place, right? So if I do that, it's quite harsh. There is a, I don't want to say better way, but I guess I could do it quite differently. Let me check how that is possible. Open workspace from files. So I would first like to open up a new workspace. How is that possible? So I would like to add them as my workspace. The benefit of that is now I cannot, for example, go inside of here and run, can I? I don't know how VS Code is handling these things, so let me quickly check. This is the client, okay. This is this generated code to connect. If we go to the main class and run that, then it's starting up the main lib. Okay, cool, fair enough. So we have running that. I got promoted. I know, Minu got promoted, sorry for that. I think in open source there is no promotion. We are all open source developers. It's one level. We love us each. We love each other the way we are. Now my question is, something that I wanted to check out anyway is the wireless check for iOS, but it seems that we have a macOS application, so I would like to run that. And we can see directly, we have here the Serverpod example. Enter your name, Max, sent to server, socket connection failed, operation not permitted. Great stuff. Okay. Failed call, example hello. Operation, yeah, that's probably because macOS has some permission rights and it doesn't allow us if we don't update that correctly. So probably we have to open up the inside of Xcode. You click on the rocket icon on top. I do. On the rocket icon on top. Here. Nice. Error exists in your project. Show errors. Missing concrete implementation. Try implementing missing method. Okay. What is keychain access? Sorry. What do we mean with that? So first of all, I would like to switch here to my personal team. I think that helps. Provisioning is development. Guess that's fine. And I think we have to give it internet access. And how was that? I think in the info p list somewhere. Where do we find the info p list? There we go. And I think now for internet access, we have to pass in something. Let's see. So starting the server, we did that already. And if you need to do at some point, okay, so tutorials and examples. So there are already a lot of videos. That's pretty cool. Congrats there. Example code. Okay, support and community. Stay up to date. Community updates. Capabilities. Working with endpoints. Okay, then it's going already into the whole part. So tick the outgoing connection box. Did I miss that somewhere? Ah, down here. Oh, is it that easy, honestly? Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Is it now automatically added here? Do we even need to add it anymore? Wow, iOS is always great. Okay, cool. Thank you. And keychain access. Can I also do that here? US print. Doesn't seem like it. Interesting. Do we see here anything? So I learned again something today. Also, Serverpod should match with Serverpod CLI versions. I mean dependencies. Okay, that's fine. So we have that. But the reason or the question is now, if I get here a protocol error, but this is generated. Okay, so no problem at all, I guess. But there is a problem if it's not. All right, Rodney, I will do that. Thank you anyway for your help. So good. I will quickly restart the app just to make sure that everything works as we expected. So if we go to the client, no, not the client, sorry. Oh, that confuses me already. So, and I think we have to run it here. Most likely version mismatch. Okay, that's probably a problem. Let's see. So let's enter max, send to server, connection refused still, but now on a different port. Connection refused error. Okay, so do we get some helpful debuggings? Not really. Socket exception, connection refused. Show us the pub spec. Which one? I think we have 3 of them. So the client has this one. So let's see, what do we have? We have Serverpod version 101. And then we have the server. And there we have the version 101. And then we have the client, which has the 101 version. Server is not running? I think the databases are running. Let's quickly check Docker. Yeah, as I said, this is a learning experience. So I will make mistakes. I will not know it better than you. It's just how I work usually. And the good thing is about community work is everyone has knowledge. You need to run dart bin main from the server folder. Ah, the server is something separate. Ah, of course it is. It's not inside of Docker. Makes sense. Sorry, guys. That is, of course, the truth. That makes so much sense. Let's split that once more. No, not vertically. Oh, we can do that. It's too funky. Let's split it horizontally. Give it here the server. So projects, others, my journal, server. And then let's run dart lib main. Dart run lib main source. Wait, that was maybe a mistake. Yep, makes sense. Lib server.dart. Bin. Sorry for that. True. Okay. Main.dart. let's see what happens. Still get that error with that implementation. And honestly, that looks... But we have here Serverpod 111, but this is also correct. So I really don't like this protocol which is generated. Yeah, but still I have this build error with the protocol. I think that is a problem here. Try implementing method quick fix, create. What is missing? Get target database definition. Run server off. Slowly, everyone, slowly. I'm getting nervous here. So let's quickly go to the Serverpod part and go for the issues, because now I'm getting confused. Aha, look at that. We are not the only... you... So I got that, okay. I encountered the same problem I resolved by updating Serverpod latest version 1.10. If you use package, please be careful not to forget to align the versions with that of Serverpod. Okay, so let's try that again. Binu says I should go to 1.11. Okay. And here I would like to see that somewhere. So we have the release tags. 1.11 last week. No information, that's good. Okay, so this is the server. Then we have to do it probably also here. Ah, okay, you want to do it via CLI. I think that's even a better approach, true. Let's do it this way. So let's go to iTerm again. Start, pub, upgrade. One package has newer versions, that's true. Where is Serverpod? But Serverpod has 1.11 installed here as a server. Maybe the client is broken? Others. What did I say? My journal. My journal. Swip, not client. It is. I should do this. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it first in the client. So, start pub upgrade. What do we see here? Also Serverpod 1.11. And now switch also to my journal Flutter. No, so we are on version 1.1.1 for all projects, so that shouldn't be the problem actually, I guess. So, or simply downgrade the Serverpod CLI, but did we not already created a project? That would mean I have to delete also the project again and recreate it, I guess. What's CLI? Serverpod.v? Serverpod.version. Okay. Okay, let's try that. Serverpod. So Rodney says, run Serverpod generate again in the server folder. All right. Calm down. Generate. Serverpod generate. I think you have slight delay to me, so don't worry if I'm not executing everything directly, just to keep that in mind. So let's see. The protocol is now still broken. It's still the get target database that is missing. Yeah, I already got it running. It's just a bit weird that we get this error now, and it seems common knowledge here. So I just want to know, besides of fixing that now. I encountered the same problem. I resolved the problem by updating Serverpod latest versions. We have that. If you use server out, we don't. So, but they use this 1.1.0 version. Maybe that's a thing that we could do. Generate client code, stop the server, create Serverpod project. Oh, we don't want that, right? Yeah, it's still broken. So it seems something that in version 1.1.1 is off somehow. That's really sad. So you say it is part of the Serverpod CLI, right? So let's see. Or does the Serverpod CLI has its own? No, it's inside of here. It is the same. We checked that, right? So once again, we can go through all the pub specs, but this is now higher than 101, and we checked that in our iTerm that we have here the Dart pub upgrade. So we have here the Serverpod version 101, 111. That looks good. Same thing in the journal of the Flutter version. Flutter pub Dart pub upgrade. No, it was just Flutter pub upgrade. I did that. The problem with that is I don't know what the real implementation is, right? If it's generated, I should not change there anything, because if it's generated, it will be overwritten whenever I do it again. So I should check the pub spec in all three folders. All right, so again, this is the first pub spec, the second one, and the third one is here. So it is everywhere 101. 101, 101, and we can upgrade that of course to 111, but it will not change actually anything because we have that already installed. But let's see. So we did that. Back to the, you know what I do? I will remove that file quickly, move to trash, and what I will do is inside of the server, I will once more say serverpod generate. So let's see, it should recreate the folder and we still have the error. Okay, just 111 without the update. Okay, getcha. It's still, so this time we will remove that part. Good. And from here on, we will remove the protocol once more. Going to my iTerm, rerun the generate button. And let's see, still the error exists. By the way, for the for Nitish, so we have this line, automatically generated code do not modify. That would mean whenever we regenerate it, it would fall back again. I am inside protocol. Quick fix, create. That is the unimplemented method. See what version? Can we see that? What do you mean? Version? I'm not sure what you mean, Minu. That's true, Nitish. Node.js is in that case at the moment a bit faster, but Node.js is not a whole framework, right? It's just one part. Go inside Serverpod. How should I, you mean inside of the real thing that we got? Where do we find that? Bin config. Inside of Serverpod. Probably I will have to go then inside of my Finder. But you are right, if there is Node.js is of course pretty much stable and is used already quite a lot, so the backend server in that makes already quite some sense. Dart tool. This is frustrating. Ask me, I'm the live streamer here. But no, it's part of the journey. We want to learn that, right? So we have .serverpod. Here is the version 101 installed. That's interesting. Ah, you mean that the CLI that I have is wrong from the version? That could be, because I can't ask that version. So what is if I remove that quickly? So now I shouldn't be possible to ask Serverpod anymore. Now it's downloading again the version 101. Did you see that? Where is it? So much text, but I have it here somewhere. Downloading templates for 101 again. That means if I go here again, it downloaded the wrong version. So I'm pretty sure that the Serverpod version of the CLI I use is wrong. So good, we learned why it's the case. So it's my problem, not Serverpod's problem. So be nice to it. So let's go to pubdev. How can I remove a globally installed package from Dart? Dart remove global. Oh, this one pub Dart pub remove. Is there? So let's try that. Clear. Dart pub remove Serverpod. So we remove that. Oh, I hope it is not removed from the. Damn. Dart pub add Serverpod. Good. I think now we are here. Get out. And now we want to do that globally. So for that, I will quickly. What was global again? Dart pub remove. Okay, if this is removed, then let's see the Serverpod CLI. Client out CLI. Install. I need the global keyword. Dart pub global remove Serverpod. Deactivate is the name. Deactivate Serverpod. No active package Serverpod. So where does Serverpod come from? Okay, this is now frustrating. I don't know where this is coming from and I don't know how to delete it. That's bad. So which Serverpod? In the pub cache. So somewhere in the pub cache I have it. So why does this tell me I don't have it installed? So remove this, going to pub cache, bin Serverpod. So Serverpod not found, great. And now Dart pub global activate Serverpod. Serverpod 111, finally. Dart pub get. Good. And now I would like to Serverpod generate. Serverpod not found. It could be because the terminal doesn't have that now. How can I change that? Let's. Oh, it's not installed here. Why is it not installed now? Switching here. It's the Serverpod CLI. My mistake. Sorry for that. So once more vertically, going to CD projects, others, my journal server, Dart pub CLI activate. But interesting, the Serverpod CLI is on version 101. That is interesting. Can I upgrade somehow with the global command? Start pub. But down here it's activated as 111. At version 101. I activated Serverpod 101. Usually yes, it's quite faster. Just telling you an Indian jugget, delete whole thing. I told my wife that this is a bad idea to do in development, because if you delete, for example, Android Studio and you have to reinstall it and you forgot to delete cache and stuff like that, your OS system can be pretty much, no, I don't say the bad word, but it's pretty hard and frustrating to really solve that problem. But we seem to have now the version 1.1.1 for Serverpod CLI. The problem is I can't verify that. Ah, there we can. Okay, great. Now we have the templates for 101. Now Serverpod generate. Done. Let's go to VS Code. Server. No issue yet. Protocol. Example. No. Where is it? Okay, let's press the button. Hey, no error. Okay, that's the other problem if you use a big framework with a lot of tooling. If one tool is somehow problematic, you get it all the line, you know? You have to do some work to finally be there. But now our server is running. That's cool. You can see that here. We have now inside listening to 8081. Genau. Restart the server. We have the server default listening to 8080 and the web server 82. So now let's check out if we have, I have to close some windows, sorry, give me a second. Discord is also running, cheap up. So if you want, join our Discord server, by the way. Serverpod, yeah, okay, we have that project, we will do that in a sec. Then we have Xcode running, I think we don't need that yet. So now let's run the application that is inside Flutter. Lib main run, and then we have this nice little selection here. That's great. So I'm getting used to VS Code slowly, really slow. Good. So enter your name, Max, sentence server. Hello Max, great stuff. And the cool thing is, as you can see, we got a method call, example hello. That means we have on our server side source, we probably have a method or something called hello. Let's see where we find that endpoints. Yeah, so we have the endpoint hello. It's probably an example endpoint. Yep. So hello, name is responding. And with that, it works. Good job, everyone. Thank you so much for your support. That helped a lot. Good. So what do we have here? Or better, what would be our next step? So if I change here anything that just updates that, I think that's pretty easy. Method calls. So this is the endpoint. So when we have, for example, a website would like to return that, it would be the point. Or if we want to create a new user, we can do it via this one. So we have that. Then what is the example? YAML files of the directory specify which serializable objects should be generated. When you add or modify a file, you will need to run serverpod generate. Okay, makes sense. In the server and client, please consult the documentation for more information on what you can do with your YAML files. Name a class to generate. Example, for example, which has a name and a data int. Add the table key if the class represents a row in the database. Table, example. The field column, if connected to a database of the class support types are Boolean type. Okay, interesting. So this is creating something. Then we have the web root, HTTP request sessions, widgets, default page widget. This creates a class. That means when we go to our protocol, I see a class of example somewhere. We have this I13. What is that? It's example.dart. Ah, okay, there is the file. And then we have this example.dart. Which has the name and the data, which is serializable. You can see we have from JSON here already. We have to JSON, we have all JSON. Beautiful. And that would mean in the client side, we find this exact same example. Okay, we got that. We got also this protocol thing to deserialize and serialize everything. Okay. That's pretty funky. But I think we have to read a little bit more into it before we understand. So there is a lot of chat going on. Setup table, CMD, Docker Compose, up build, detach. Okay. For my journal records. Okay. So that's that. That means inside of the protocol, I would create a new file. For example, yeah, let's call it journal for now. Don't have to be too funky. Let's take the same example more or less. So we say we have a class journal. Do I do that correct? No, column. Then with fields. And in these fields we have, for example, a title, which is a string, and we have a body, which is a string. And if I do that, name, date, oh, maybe it has a date too, you know. Is datetime an object? Let's read quickly. Datetime, yeah. If you want to create a YAML model, you can use a control space string caps S. What? Ah, okay. String. Okay, fair enough. String. Table tag. Table. And what should I enter here? Add table key if the class represents a row in the database. Okay, so that means we want to store that in the database. So I add this table part, and now I give the name of the column, of the table, I guess. So that would be our journal. Fair enough. And if I have to recreate that now, that means I go, let's say, into my iTerm. So, and inside of here, I have then to say Serverpod generate again. Now, inside of the generated files, we have our journal with these three things. This time it's a table row. This one is a serializable entity, so it is only for communicating between the client and server. But the journal seems to be more because we still store something here on the table. Where we have an ID of that, we have a table name that we created to JSON and so on and so forth. Interesting. Some journal table. Aha, okay, that has been created for us. T-journal, interesting. And we have all the find methods already on it. That's pretty cool. Minu. But make sure that you silence the browser tab and not the stream itself. It's just a hidden feature that Twitch is using, for example, to remove views. I didn't know that, but it's very funky. So if you silence the tab of the browser, it doesn't recognize it that you muted the stream. But if you make the voice the loudness of the stream to 0, it removes you from the views. That's the real hacks here. Professional YouTube hacks. If you want to support your streamer. Okay, so it really creates us the whole table and everything. So now it would be interesting to see. So this is the ORM more or less. That means our code represents more or less what we want to store on the data tables, and it gives us actions and transaction possibilities. If I was able to send a meme, I have the perfect meme for this situation. Ah, okay. Send it in Discord. Would love to see it. Good. Endpoint. So now Interesting. What do we have here? What does the client said and did with that stuff now? We have now the My Journal client. Good. Here we have the client, and we get also from and to, but we don't get any information about this table because we only have a serialized object here. That makes complete sense. That being said, on the client side, we don't know, or we don't want to know anything about the server, right? It doesn't care about us. So if we, on the client side, we don't have a database for it, so it is just a serializable entity that we can create on the client side to send to the server. And now we should have access in our Flutter lib, for example. If we want to, we should have access to it. Do we have access? Yeah, we have access to the My Journal client here. As I said, it's added as a package. And now inside of our main, we should have the possibility somewhere to create this object. So if we have this call hello, what we could do here is, for example, creating the journal object and give it a body like hello. Today was a glorious day where I had a lot of fun during a live stream. So now it will complain because probably all these instances are not null, correct? So you have to pass in the title, you have to set the body and a date, which is pretty good. And then we have the title. Yeah, live stream day. And last but not least, we have the date, which is just a new date time, or better, date time dot now. Simple enough. And with that, we created our first entry, const first entry. What's the issue? The constructor being called isn't a const constructor. Try removing const. Yeah, okay. But what is it? Not let, not var. It is journal. I think it's var. Fair enough. And instead of writing now the text inside, what I would like to do is passing. Oh, it's getting interesting now. Now I would like to store that. That would mean if I use my first entry, there should be a command like store or anything on it. Is that correct? To JSON to string? No, that's not correct. That means I send the information now to our server via the endpoint, and the endpoint deserializes it again to a journal, and then we store it. Okay, fair enough. So we use our hello example, or better, let's create a new one, I guess. That makes it more clear, I guess. So if we go to the endpoints, what I would understand is I will create here a new file, journal endpoint.dart. And here we have a class journal endpoints. Do we extend anything? Yeah, endpoints extends endpoint. And here we now set up new routing paths, I guess. Oh, there are so many chats. Yeah, someday I join you in the live stream session. That would be amazing, actually. We can do that. Or in the podcast session, if you like. I search always for interview partners. So if you're interested, let's have a talk together. In Dart. What exactly is var and the data type? What do you mean with that? When to use var and when to... you can use both. I think var is more dynamic, so you can pass in anything, but if you have a data type, it's more fixtured. And I think that is just... so if I can say journal. Now I can't pass anything else inside than a journal. I am 100% sure that this is a journal. If we use var, we interfere. So that means that Dart language server will understand that here was once passed inside a journal. And so this variable is now a journal. The value of a local variable isn't used. Yeah, okay. So let's print the first entry for now, but we will do that in a sec. Good, so we create this endpoint. And if I understand that right, we copy that over quickly because we want to have a future. We get all these infos. Thank you for whatever that was. I can't see it actually. Something happened. I want to know what it is. Someone subscribed, I guess. I really need a dashboard or anything. I think I have that somewhere that I can actually see what people are doing. I just get a very loud sound that something happened. Good. I'm able to join Discord. Can you share the Discord link? Yeah, of course. Give me a second. Invite people. Edit. Never. No limit. Join link. I think I have to pass that in here. So. And pass it here. Sure. Good. So now we created this endpoint. I'm not quite sure because this endpoint needs to be registered somewhere. I'm not sure if this happens automatically. I cannot imagine. So what happens here? We have this. We have the protocols. We have the endpoints. With your generated code. Oh no, it's generated. So with that, if I add this endpoint, it should be working already. So this endpoint is the journal endpoint. We call it not hello, we call it, what would be a good endpoint name to create a new journal entry? Save new, create new entry. So now we get our session, we get not a name, but what we get, I'm not sure if this is possible, but we get a journal actually. Journal entry would be a good name. But I'm pretty sure that this will be journal. So can I import that? I can. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting now. Let's see if this is working. So instead of this, I would like to say journal dot, no. Wait. If I use that from the generated journal, does it have a save command or anything? Session db find, session db, save, store, create, put. There is somewhere something like this. Yeah, exactly what I searched for. So what do we have? We have update insert database, you know. And that will be the generated folder and the mapping and the client protocol. Okay, but I think we have that. So we have this insert. I'm just not sure if I use that correct. We will try that. So that means if I have this journal, which is now the server-side code, I can say insert. No? Is this from the server source generated? So I was thinking this insert, but I am not allowed to use that. Journal.insert, yeah, I thought so too. Journal.insert. Can't be accessed through an instance. Try using the class to journal.insert. It's static. Oh, then I pass in the journal. Oh, okay. Journal has been stored. And now I would like to pass in the journal back to the client. Fair enough. Interesting. Good, so with that, if I generate now everything, it should work. That would be fancy, because I would have nearly nothing to do. JUse journal db insert. No, I think that one is the way that I would use here, because that's static. Then we have that class. We do that. The question. Crazy stuff. Okay, I guess I have to create now again. So let's do that inside of the server. Serverpod generate. Done. So this is stored. Do I have to be careful about anything, or is it now working out of the box? I'm getting a little bit nervous, I have to admit. It's a bit too funky. So restart. Let's see what the app is looking like. So we enter a name, but we don't really need that. I think we can just send it. We get hello back. Hello. Okay, because the client doesn't recognize that. But what we can see on the Flutter part is we send, of course, something back. But what does Serverpod say, actually? We get this authenticated users. So something happened. So the question is now, what did the DB does? And what we can see, usually up here, we should get some information, but it didn't do anything. Restart the server. Okay. I also used the wrong endpoint in the client, obviously. I think I have to change that too. So in the Flutter app, sorry. So at the moment we just print that and then we write hello. Whoops. But we actually don't want that anymore. What we would like to do is using the first entry and was that? We want to use client example, create new entry. And then we pass in the journal that we have, which is the first entry. The method isn't defined by endpoint example. Try correcting names. Wow. My friends, I will be back in 1 second. I have to go to the bathroom real quick. Sorry for that. Yeah, thank you, Nitish. The problem here is I'm on a new diet because I want to lose around 10 kilograms because I'm fat. And part of the diet is to drink a lot of water. And usually my usual income of water is by coffee, which makes around 6 coffees a day and without caffeine. That means 1.2 liter of water. Now I drink water in the morning, now during live streams and so on and so forth. Oh, you can't see my face. Good point. Thank you. Sorry. Oh, maybe that's a part of the intermission. So now I'm drinking water a lot. And I think yesterday I drank 2 liters of water a day, which is ridiculously a lot. And when I biking, I should drink 3.9 liter of water. And the crazy thing is my body is completely drive crazy. I'm going to the bathroom every second day or something. It's completely nuts now. Every second. So, but this was my personal story. Let's get back to the journal app. So I can't believe that people drink 3 liter of water a day. It's impossible. I mean, you only exist on the toilet then. Good, but thank you, Joe. Thank you, Nitish. Great. So the scene is back, and so we don't have to create new entry here yet. I try to be. Last time I had a call with a I want to say client more or less, and the funny thing is he was talking with me, and then during the call he said, "Oh Max, it's crazy. I thought you are such a professional guy who is always very professional, and then but you're really normal." And I was like, "Yeah, thank you." So lucky for me, I'm pretty normal. That's the biggest compliment I got since a long time. So anyway, we got this journal, we got now the protocol. I'm a bit confused because we have this endpoint, but this is a protocol. We don't want that. That means we don't get this endpoint like this. What do we have to do to receive that endpoint? In main.dart, we have this create new client example. The client is this. Where are we now? I probably have to restart the app completely, to have access to it, because that is the client. Connectivity, Flutter connectivity. Ooh. I'm now lost. Where? This is now the journal client in main lib. No, but this is a client example, endpoint example. Ah, not example, it's journal. Oh, I got it. I got it. So we have to change that. Now it works. Ah, that's interesting. So that means what we should do. First of all, journal is not journal. It's actually a journal entry. The client journal, probably I would give this a naming convention, call that always journal endpoint. Probably just to make clear that this is the endpoint of it. I don't know if this is necessary. People will probably understand, especially because it returns that part. Hard to say. Create new entry makes it clear. I can just pass that in. Do I need anything to do with it? That's pretty awesome, honestly. We can just pass in the journal that we have, and that's it. We don't have to JSON, from JSON, anything. It's directly working out of the box. And with that, now we pass in the set state with the result, which is now whatever comes back from here. So if I press the button again, we get a Serverpod client exception 400. Can we debug that somehow? This is now the server. What says start? We get status code 400. That's very unhappy because I don't know what the problem is. So a little bit more text would be great. So is the problem that this one is not really created yet? Should I restart everything? Let's do that maybe. Click on the nice little rocket. Click on main run. While inserting, I have to use an object, but if this is the case, then I would suggest or hope so that this one here would not be possible. Because we get also, I promise we get here a journal back. Ah, you mean that it doesn't get deserialized, that I get something else here. What do I get here? Print journal, please. So if we do that now, and if I press on the button, oh, now it worked. Or at least, yeah, we got the storage, and here we get a refrow of something. Query, start date, what happens? Oh, because we are in the debug mode, okay. Await connection. Oh ho, okay, crazy. Internal server error, zoned exception. Relation journal does not exist. Ugh. Postgres. Okay, so my Postgres says I don't have that server. Okay, maybe I should read a little bit about it, because what we wanted to do now is storing something in the database, and the database says it does not exist yet. Aha, so probably we have to make generates because there is the PG SQL missing. So that would be an option. So let's try that. Insert the article top the database, future bool, insert article async. Generate quickly. I just want to see if we get this file actually. Protocol journal, we have that. But interesting enough, we don't see the PSQL file here. That means we got an error here also too from this statement. No, there this error relation does not exist at character 13. Relation journal does not exist at character 13. So it seems to be this. Yes, but I thought, is this not happening via Serverpod? I thought they will do that for me to create that table. I thought that was exactly this part here. The database schema will be saved in generate table as PSQL. You can use to create the corresponding database tables. Aha, you can use this to create the corresponding data table. So when you add a table to a serialized class, Serverpod will automatically add an ID. Okay. Can create indexes. That's great. Parent, child, storing objects. Okay, so that means we have to create that database table ourselves. It's gonna be interesting. How do I do that? Now, especially because that isn't Docker and everything, I thought that would be a little bit easier. Do we get some informations? You can always use direct SQL calls. You define your database mappings right in the protocol YAML file. The database schema will saved in the generate table PQ SQL. Maybe it is inside of here. Yeah, here it is. So we have that. Download the Postgres. I think we don't want to download that because we want to have it in Docker, right? So I want to keep it in Docker actually. So I would like to have access to this. So probably I have to create that inside of here. For that, I will have to connect to the Docker and then create it inside of here. Then it will work. And we have this. So probably I will have to, you mean a client to access, execute pgql generator. What is it? I think I don't have installed all that. Terminal connect to Docker container. I think there is a command that I can execute docker ps, so let's do that first. Adding that to the side. We clear that. I think the Flutter part we don't really need at the moment, so docker ps. So we have here our different container pods. We want to access Postgres, so use the command docker exit it. Container name bash. So let's try that. Docker it bash. And the container name would be here we go. Here we go, and we are on it. Perfect. So we made that already. If the SQL script ran in the DB, then the tables will be created. Then you can insert the data. That makes sense. Everything makes sense. I just want careful. The problem is we have a Docker container, right? Our instance is completely separated to that Docker container. That means if I install something locally, Docker will not know about that. So if we want to create a new database table, for example, for Docker, for Postgres, we have to do it inside of that Docker container. We cannot do it locally on our machine somehow. So if you write a lot of ideas, pgql generator sounds something like I have installed locally. Postico, I don't even know what that is. Postico, I think we don't have anything like that here. So what we need to do is probably access and connecting. We have now accessed Docker already, so you can see here that we are on that Docker container. And what we want now is to connect to the Postgres, and I will have to quickly check how we can do that. So PostgreSQL open. Oh, what we could do is using a fancy tool like DataGrip. I think that would be cool. Then we can. That's much better because that makes it visualizing. So let's install quickly DataGrip. Because with DataGrip, we can access the SQL database, the Postgres database as an admin probably, and then we can update there the things inside of it. I think there are different clients also for Postgres that you could use, but as I know, as you know me as old IntelliJ boy, I use DataGrip for that. So let's do that quickly. And then let's see how we can connect to that database. I think it's localhost something. New project. Let's call that Postgres. So, don't know. So if I here have now the possibility to add data sources, and one of them is PostgreSQL, and we have it localhost. I am not sure about the port actually. Let's see. Yeah, 5432 looks exactly right. And I think it will be user password, but I'm unsure. So what we can do is test the connection, incomplete configuration. What is missing? Ah, there is even a missing driver file. All right. So yeah, download the files, please, for me. Failed. Connection refused. Check the host name and port are correct and that the postmaster is accepting TCP IP. Yep, the problem is I don't know the credentials, do I? Are they set somewhere? Do they have some insights into... roadmap? Capabilities? No, I think everything that is somehow related to the database is not up here. Ah, okay, perfect. So there is a file for it. Thank you. Client server, config file, passwords. Oh, you got my passwords now all. Now I'm lost. So if I ever use that server again, I'm lost completely. So let's read. Different configuration. If you want to have to save for any configuration, place it under shared. So don't do that as I did and share it with the world, but this is all your password, it seems, for staging and production. Quite. So what you would usually do is hiding them away, hopefully. User is Postgres. Can I see that somewhere? Development. Ah yeah, okay. So we have here the API server. Insights, database is port 8090. Interesting. And the user is Postgres. Okay. So the port, I keep it with that because I can imagine that this is like this. And then inside of passwords, we want to access the database development. So, and apply testing, still refused. So now I try the different port just to make sure that this is not a problem. Aha, look at that. Connected after ping with 9. Interesting that I get the 8090 is possible, but 5432 is not, because what I was thinking about it. Ah, no, it maps, Docker is mapping the port 532 to 8090. So that was, it's the different, you have to turn it around in, yeah, you know. So anyway, we got now a connection. And probably I'm also now an admin with all the luck that I have. So we can open up this. You can use any database explorer. As I said, it's just the one that I use now here because I'm getting used to it and I pretty much like it. So we don't have any table. So probably we have to create one. And what we can do now is executing inside of this console. Can I get a console for here? Query console. And if I use that, I can now use the file that we generated inside of the client, into the client, lib source. No, where has it been? Ah, inside of generated here. And then we have table serverpod with the out key, gain access, create table. What is that? Class out key is the table of out key. Interesting. Seems to be something else again. Serverpod cloud storage. Serverpod cloud storage direct upload. It seems that actually we need that, right? All the, yeah, exactly, all the files. I thought the same. So what we will do is pasting that inside of here. This is one query and the other one will be this one. So what that means is we will probably create all kind of things like authentication, cloud storage, whatever that means, some direct upload, future calls, and so on and so forth, like time server ID identifier, Generally, Serverpod help. I think that is for the other tool, that insight tool that we have, right? So probably it gives us the health metrics and stuff. So if we execute this, we will create a bunch of tables for only the sessions and stuff. So let's execute that, and we got errors. Syntax error, health metric. What's the issue? Line 1. Now it worked. Okay, there was just that backspace. Somehow it was weird. But now it executed everything greenish, as you can see on the ticks on the side. So we have now our table. Probably another table was missing or something. Good, we have both. That works. Instalog and other things if you're in your app. So what it means is inside of our public, we have now these little tools. And for example, we have our journal with our title, body, and date. We have the auth keys, we have cloud storage and whatnot. All the nice little things that probably will be necessary if we have a production server, which we don't have yet. But that's the first step, right? We want to set that up. So next step would be for my place if I once more press that button and try to store it. Let's see what happens then. Because if we check the iTerm, this is now all existent. There's this error, but I think that's gone now. And now what I would suggest is inserting that once more, and we throw again. So I have to probably restart something. Error relation journal does not exist and not true anymore. If we think about it, there should be the journal, and we have that. And we don't have any data into it. So probably we have to restart the server, I guess. For that, we leave Docker. Sorry for that turnaround and talking about Docker and connecting to it and stuff. This is of course the way better possibility to execute that. And I have to do several things. Number one is giving this data grip a new, better UI that is currently up to date. Then we would like to give it a bigger font size, because I always forget how small this stuff is inside of the stream. So let's head up to 22. And also for our execution of things, we would like in the editor giving the font size a nice little 22. Way too big to work, but big enough to make you happy. So, but we can see now the journal, nothing is inside of it. Now we restart the server, and then let's see what we get as an example. So inside of our server, no, we don't do that this way. We use -tool, exit it, and rejoining. Fair enough. And now let's try the same thing again on our app, which I closed, unfortunately. So we have to go back to the client, main.dart, run that one. Yeah, but pretty cool so far, right? We got already quite something done. Actually, we didn't, but yeah. So let's try sending again, and we rethrow again. So unfortunately, that seems not to work as we expect to. So let's run it, crash. Relation journal does not exist. Internal server error. ID null, live stream day. Today we're a lot of dates. Okay. So from the client side, it's happy. From the server side, it's happy. It does not happy with the server in general. So let's have a look what this tool tells us. If I go now here to projects, others, server My journal. Choose. Select. Session ID, endpoints, duration, server. Ah, okay, with that I have to open up the server, it seems. How do I switch the project? Okay, found the server here, down here, okay. Development, session ID, any, open, slow, blah, blah, blah. So if I enter again, we crash again. What does this insight bring us? Nothing. Aha, but we get some CPU usage, etc. pp. That's nice. Huh. You cannot directly insert data. What does that mean? I mean, I push it to the server tries to insert it, and then we return the journal. The thing is, we don't wait here, so maybe that is a problem, but I highly doubt that, honestly. We can try that, but no, just throw it again. It's interesting that the insert command froze us and we don't get here anything. Can we not try? Up. Sorry for that. So if we try catch that and we receive an error, then if this happens, we return this. Else, I don't know, can I make the session fail somehow? Probably can. Return. Something like that. Make a transaction now, session log. Okay, with session.log, I can log probably stuff. So for example, here I can say stored successfully. And we get an error because that cannot happen after a return. And here we do the same thing, but we don't log. Log. Can I log exception? E? There was a problem. Calm down, Minu. Give me a second to think. So we restart also the server. And with that, we have the server running and we have our client running. Good, good. And if I try to store it now, Postgres severity error relation does not exist. Do I have a different database that it can connect to? I don't think so, right? Maybe I have to restart the server? Oh, but that would be odd. Let's try that. Oh, did I lose connection now? Yeah, we lose that, but fair enough. I have that now here. And if I try to restart the server after that, journal does not exist. Relation journal does not exist. The client has the lib, has the source, has this journal, deserialize everything. The table wasn't able to recognize in the DB. The table wasn't able to recognize in the DB. What does that mean? So that I had to restart the server. I did that, but we got still the same error. Or the server's also restarted. It's also not it. Is there anything else I forgot to generate? We have the protocol with hello. Yeah, but the Flutter app is not the case, right? Because Flutter is working nicely. That is nearly impossible. That is the problem. Because the server is taking care of most of it, right? The client is only calling it. No. Seems to be a server problem, unfortunately. Or better, not even a server problem. It seems to be a weird error because I don't know why it's not working. The generator, we have a password, save password used in all configurations, blah blah blah. Am I maybe connected to a different database? Maybe I'm working against production or staging. How do I know that? How do I know that? Oh, against what I'm working at the moment? Because obviously I only have now a server running, but it could be that there are also different. No, that couldn't be actually. Or I don't know. Server. So we pass in args, route, static pod start. Show the DB configs. So I did, didn't I? Configs, development, for example. We have the 8090. This is the one that I have connected to. Then we have production for 5432. Here I'm unsure. Database example pod.com. Then we have staging. I mean, the names of this is pretty much stupid, but this is localhost. The question is now for me who I'm connecting to. And I don't know where I find this information. Generator? Password? Yes, exactly. But I would say if the table exists in in localhost, right? So in this database explorer, this is where it exists, and this one is the testing server, right? So if I go here to, wow, that's quite big. Properties, we can see we connect to 8090 localhost with the password of development. So we could even give that a name. Properties name, this is development journal. So that means there the table exists, but my server says, hey, the server does not, the table does not exist, right? So if I go here to Serverpod, it says, nope, 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 doesn't exist. If there was a problem, the error is the journal does not exist. That would mean for me that we connect maybe to the wrong. I tried, this is the code that we wrote inside of the server. If you check for the endpoint, we did exactly that. We make journal, insert, session, journal. And insert does add a new value, I guess, right? So it takes the session DB and inserts the row and the transaction. That sounds pretty much correct for me. DB insert takes the connection and inserts things. And here it tells me that the database connection. So where do we get the database connection? Database connection, where are we at the moment? Please be a bit on the side. So we are inside of the database, Postgres connection. Where do you get the info value? Pool manager, Postgres connection. Database config. Database config. So it should be here and then something like database config, where the host port and so on is inside. Breakpoint in insertion. Let's do that. Maybe we find some solution here. So breakpoint, and let's execute again the code. Zack, here we are. So we have our session, we have our journal. That's dandy. You mean inside of this insert. So let's jump inside and then we see what the DB is actually. Database connection. Okay. That's quite something. So let's jump inside once more, I guess. DB, database connection, database pool manager. Database name my journal, host is localhost. No, that's the right one with the port 8090. So it accepts also that this exists. To JSON for database, okay. So we create this journal, takes the table name, get table names for type. What is the table name for that type? Table is not null, return table. What is the name? Serverpod future calls is the table name. Okay. Yeah, obviously there's a problem. Yep, sure. Let's see the model ones. So endpoint future calls, example future calls, invoke serializability. Future calls are calls that are invoked later time. Okay, that's something else. Inside of the YAML file, you would like to be protocol journal YAML. So this is the journal YAML. We have the class, we have journal, the class journal, exactly. So inside of our generated stuff, it's the table name journal. My journal is the name of the project. So probably the database name or something is probably my journal everywhere. No, but in the database, it's not part of it. We also don't store anything inside of the development. Can I go to insights? You mean this one, I guess, and choose development? Sure. There is even a session that is long running. There was a problem. There you go. Okay, I can see that now, but does it really help me somehow? So the problems so that means he takes it from here somewhere, but I don't get it visualized. Query log. I mean, you said this, or I thought that would access this database, but it doesn't. Yeah, I think that's the best option. Let's restart everything. So we close that, we kill our dashboard, we kill the backend. Bye-bye. We go, well, okay, so our pod is even directly, yeah, okay, because the endpoint is wrong, off. We kill our Dart, everything. So clean slate, everything is beautiful. Yeah, they should be locked, right? And also in this database. So it is, as I said, so something should be inside of here. So it's weird that it isn't. So let's go to items. So we start a horizontal plane. Going here, and let's take the upper one. Here we want to start our ingress. That was Docker compose. We have to go probably... No, Docker compose up build up and cd. Wait, where do I want to do that? Get started. Docker compose up build detached. Docker compose build up. Up build. No configuration file. Okay. Where do I have to be in the server? Okay. My journal server. Good. Here we are, ready to accept connections. We have the Postgres localhost on port 5432. On port 5432. Yeah, that's correct, because what happens now inside of our dashboard, if I read that correct, we managed to map that over to the 8090. Good, clear. Then we want to run our Dart server. Run bin main. The Dart server is running. That's good. And here we want to start our client. So let's go to projects, others, my journal Flutter, and run Flutter run. The good thing is, I think it takes the right database, because we get the error also in our database. So the database is complaining about that. Relation journal does not exist at character 13. So journal seems not to exist for him. Let's take that statement actually, because why not? So we take that statement and add that in our data grid. So we go here and we have our command, right? So if I just do this, with the values and so on. Let's organize that a little bit. We have here the text. So insert journal and execute that. What happens? It works. Shoot. So that means, what does that mean now? Wait, so we have the database that accepts our request. We try to insert something, but it throws us an error that this is not possible. At character 13 it complains. So where is character 13? Inside of the console, let's go here. That complains about the name. but it works for us. So we can add that. And it tells us that the relation journal does not exist. No, that's not it. Okay, let's debug once more what our VS Code is doing. So we go back to our insertion. We are here. And we call this insert method. Here we use the db insert. And here we wait for the db connection insert. Probably I have to kill the server on down here. And restart it via this. What do you mean? What happened? So it did still not save it, but if I save it manually, so the command is correct. It just don't saves it. I don't know why, but it seems that if we check Docker once more, like if I go to here, we can see that there was a crash happening. So the Postgres actually gets the command and says, nope, the relation does not exist. We try to insert that. So something is odd, because if I do it manually, it works. What is Postico? Postico. It's nothing else than the native for Postgres. It's nothing else than I use, right? No, it's exactly the same thing. So where is the difference to data grip? That doesn't help us. It's the same thing. You connect to the database and you can view the tables. We do that with data grip. It's the same thing, just in, well, IntelliJ. What would you do in Postico differently? That is the question. Roles, PGs, we have the whole viewers, we have Postgres. This is in public, you see? First public, then you have tables. Or do you mean all of these are in public? But that wouldn't change a thing, because we created the tables the same way, right? We just executed a command and executed all of that. But we can install Postico, let's do that. Then you get ease of mind and you can see that it still doesn't change a lot. So, Postico, execute, open. So that is our journal server. Localhost is correct, and I think this is 8090. Database is, what was it? Postgres, I guess. And the password, no, that is the Postgres, and the password is inside of VS Code. Let's see, generated, config, development, that's correct. The name of the database is my journal. That's the name of the database. Password. So, and we have this database. This is staging. We want development. So, job, and I think we can connect. Done. So this is how it looks like. As you can see, it's inside of tables. We have the journal. Everything dandy. Or what do you mean it's different? Connected to database my journal. Postgres. Template 1. Huh? Now the table is gone? Huh? Wait a second. What happened here? If I disconnect to it and I reconnect, Where's my table? In Postgres is it there, but not in my journal. That's the problem. Ah, that means here I'm probably in the wrong database. Look at that. Oh, ha. Now I got it. My journal. Here we want to connect, and here we don't have a database. We don't have the table, and so we have to set that up probably. We are here in Postgres. Or... Ah. So that being said... Okay, so now the question is still there. So why do I see it here? It shouldn't be there. Why do I see that then? I don't see the right database. I see Postgres. I need to see a different one. Navigation. Top left? Here? Data source input. I mean, it's the right server. It's just... That's so weird at the moment. Sorry for that. Drop down, you see version control. Ah, up here. Yeah, but this is Postgres, right? This is just the name of the project that I'm in. It's just the name of the project. It's upper. Has nothing to do with... I could even name that something different if you like, so that you don't get confused here. That was a mistake. Yeah, I think I have to recreate a database. That's odd. So let's drop that for now. Get rid of and create data source, Postgres. We take this time the right one, my journal. This is Postgres. Password is probably not this. Here's 8090, and here we need to say that the user... the password and apply test connection. That worked. And now we have my journal, and here is nothing inside. We have the Serverpod tables. Perfect. Finally. Jeez, that was a fight. Yeah, so for everyone who did not understand what happened here. So we created in our Docker container a Postgres server. And Postgres automatically creates a database for itself called Postgres, which is the default one, you could say. Serverpod creates a different database called My Journal inside of the same Postgres instance. What that takes, and here inside we have all these things already created. So here we will have also entries now, because these are the things that, for example, where is it? That Serverpod itself accessed. So if we go here inside, we can see now, okay, there are two different entries, and this is happening inside of here. But as you can see, we have one table less because we did never create the actual data table for it. So that was obviously a big mistake. Can happen. Sorry for the long searching for it, but now we can finally do what we wanted to do. We can create inside of this part, and I think we don't even have to execute. Now we have our table, journal table is here. Now we go to our Flutter, we send. We don't need that breakpoint anymore because I'm pretty sure it works now. Haha, method call successful. We get our information, and if we go to data grip now, update, here we go. Ah, that was so bad. Okay, but as you can see, these are the problems that you have fight for if you are a full stack developer. You have to, yeah, the same problems as always, right? But interesting enough, if I switch again to Postgres and apply that, it will not take that, right? So it is now changed, but not really changed. Crazy. So the tool has also problems. Good. Switch it back to my journal. Staying here now because that is the correct one. Deplug and maybe replug. So, and I think I restart the whole thing again. Oh dear, oh dear. So, but now it works. We have our first entry of our journal. That's pretty cool. The rest would be now to set up everything here. So if we enter here the name, it could be also changed to enter title. Let's remove the Xcode part, I think, and in VS Code. If we now go to our Flutter app, because the server is already pretty much done, right? So in our Flutter app, we just would have then to change some wording. So for example, instead of having name, we would say enter your your journal title, or better, journal title. And what I would like to do is just copy and paste this twice. So we have that here, and it's inside of the padding. How do I select lines here? No, that's not it. No, that's, oh geez. Oh yes. How do I select lines? Increase. I think I saw that somewhere. No, that's not it. No. Ah, yeah. No. Okay, gotcha. I don't understand. So let's keep it like that. If you have ever used your keyboard shortcuts, it's getting difficult to change that. So first is the journal title, the second is the journal body, and the date will be always now. So done. And if we have that, now we just want to show that, send to makes this call hello. Here we have at the moment body, and we have to update, of course. Another. Oh, is VS Code bad? Jeez. So again, field. Journal title. So we have this text editor controller. We need a second one. This is for the title text editing controller. Now we duplicate that for the body text editing controller. Remove unused fields. Yeah, calm down. Probably F2 is also not working correctly. So this is the title, and this one will be the body. The next stream, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, actually, maybe next week, maybe tomorrow. Depends on when I want to finish with the project. Okay, so now here we can access the text editing controllers. So text, this is for the body.text, and this one is for the title editing controller.text. And with that, we have now everything we need. We create this new entry, and actually what we could do is inline the whole thing. So we don't need that, and done. Good. Anything else missing? Now we can write that, and the second thing we would like to do probably is to visualize it. So at the moment we should have 2 text fields now. And I don't see it. What did I restart? The server I did restart. Okay, that's not what I wanted. So let's go here, not restart. So we have our journal title, the body, and then we have to send to server. And instead of having no server response yet, we would like to show a column with all the journal entries that we have already. So result display. Okay, so build that. We get these different messages. I think we don't really need that. We have a container with text, and where comes the text from? Aha, result display. Get here the message, result message. That is a string that we give to my home page. Where do we get that? Ah, okay, yeah, gotcha. So this is here inside, but we need now a preloader. So that means what we want to do is we want to access our server, getting all the journal entries and display them. Oh. Okay, that means how can we do that? In our journal endpoint, we need some new endpoint, right? That would be a future of a string. Is it a string? No, a future of journals, actually. Let's see if this is possible. And a table of a list of journals. And we want get all entries. Session, we get, what do we get here? Nothing, probably. Not sure if this is possible. Let's see. Get all entries. Future is a potential non-nullable. The body might complete normally, causing null. Yep. Fair enough. So what do we want to get? Session db dot count delete find by ID find probably. Expression where find a list of table rows from a table using the provided where expression, optionally using limit. Okay. Let's go quickly to Serverpod, how I would do that the best way. Here we go. Not Pico, we want to exactly. Tutorials and examples, concepts. That's all that. Company insert, we did that. Company find by ID, find single row. Ah, cool, I don't even need the true. To find multiple, use the same principle, finding a single row, return list table rows. Okay, fair enough. That means what I can do is going here, instead of session db, I'd just say it's journal.find. And what I would like to find is T company. So this is a specific company. I would like to find all, actually. Deleting rows. What does that mean? Companies, company.find, T company. You would like to have the session, and then you have the journal expression builder. Okay, that means session we pass in. Where P1, P0. Now I can ask for any, and we just return true. Where P0 is a journal table, we get the table and we now want all entries. List of columns. Let's see what happens if I just make this. Maybe that already gives me, whoop, sorry. As stream when complete, no, and we just return that. Find returns a list of journals, that makes sense, and we wait for that, or probably right, because we anyway have a future here and this is asynchronous, so yeah. Good, fair enough. Probably we make that in a try catch block because we want to see if something happens. So try this, then catch an error. And if this is successful, we return this. If it's not successful, we return just an empty list. It's not perfect, but you know, Still better than throwing always errors for everything. But what we can do is logging it. Log exception E. What is exception again? Up. So with that pushing up here, then we get some more info. Error happened, be a bit more precise. Error happened while getting all entries. So, okay, and with this command that we have now, we could probably, we have to generate probably. So that means inside of our iTerm, we go to the server and say serverpod generate. This should give us now the client side for it. Of the journal. I know the client side is still the same, it's just the backend side that has changed. Okay, fair enough. So that means with that we have these endpoints and this journal endpoint get all entries. In our client, bin main, this is the server, in our client, we would like to make a method where we have a list of entries. That being said, we have this my app. I think we write at the moment everything in one big thing. So we have the state here. And what we like to do is having a list of journals. We can ask for a future builder, and the future builder is then creating us the methods. Okay, so the easiest way is probably in the result display. We would like to have that underneath of it. We just have a future builder that takes a builder with a context, build context, and a snapshot, exactly. And then we return something. So at the moment, this will be probably, let's see, I think this is too much. We can do it like this. What is that? We don't need that. So, and you are this, and what we return is for now a loading spinner, circular progress indicator. So that means whenever we have that, we should show a circular spinner. So if we go to the app, and I don't know why this is not working as I want that, so I restart that quickly inside of VS Code. Build errors. What? Okay, down here. Yeah, I think the result display. Yeah, I fucked it up, I guess. So let's remove that result display for now. We don't really need that anymore. Good. We'll probably complain up here. That's fine. And we have that, which is reddish. So good. So now let's try it again. Good, so we have that circular spinner now. It circles and circles because we never get data. So what we need is, besides of the builder, we also need a future that we have to pass in. And the future should be now on this journal object. Journal dot, no, what was it? Client dot journal, because that's the endpoint. And here get all entries. And this should be a future and should give us data sooner or later. Will not change anything in the app right now, because what we have to do is if the snapshot has data. So if snapshot dot has data, then we want to do something. So for example, we want to return, we get a list of things. So this snapshot should be containing a list of journals, actually, not a list of objects. Okay, so we have to define that. How was that again? Hey Schrödinger, nice to see you. This is an async snapshot of type list of journal. Be sure about that. So now it should be pretty clear, and because of that we get here that. And for each element, we would like to showcase something now in this column. And what could we show? A list tile, probably. So that means for each element, we would show that. So we can, we probably need a list of widgets. So we need a list of widgets that we want to display. So, and they coming from the snapshot.data. And this we need to map. And we want to map from this journal to a widget. So in our case, a list tile widget, which should be pretty similar. That has a title, I guess, which comes from e.title. Then we have a body, which is like our sub. Do we have a body here? No. A subtitle for now with our e.body. And do we have the date? It's all a little bit reddish here. So the question is why that iterable list? Okay, cool. Because we get now the mapping, and after the mapping we have to say to list so that it is happy again. So make this. Getting some errors here. Map can't be unconditionally invoked, but could be null. That's true. No, it's not true because we have has data, so it is not null anymore. It's impossible. Now we don't have eDate because string can't be assigned to parameter widget question mark. Yeah, good point. So this is of course text and we pass in this. And you know, instead of the subtitle, we use the date. I think that looks a bit more cleaner. To string. Yeah, just use to string. I know it will show now a bit unhappy, but yeah, let's do that. So probably we have to make now a hot restart because up. Let's see, we get a server exception of 400. So something is not right. What does the server say to that problem? Method call get all entries, num queries 0, duration 0. And what does the database say to it? So if I go to Docker dashboard. Okay, from their side, we don't get any error. That means, let's try to, if snapshot dot has error, then we would like to display the error. Return text dot snapshot dot error dot to string. So, okay, I got just the 400 here again. So you say we can test this one, get all entries, no log entry were captured, no query were captured. And we are not returning the widgets. That's true, but we are still getting issues here, right? So that means what we would like to do, return widgets. So, and this is not possible. Why isn't a widget as required by the closure? Why is the closure requiring a widget? Okay. Let's make it a list view with children where the widgets are inside. Probably would crash now in the app if we would display that, but you know. List view builder, alright. Let's take this one. What does the list view builder has key access, boolean, scroll controller, physics, required widgets, item builder. Okay, item builder, context index. You mean this way? Okay, I can do that. Yep. So that means I get a list of. Then we don't want to have a list of widgets anymore. How can we do that? We just take the snapshots actually. Let's keep that for now. Wait a second. We get now this. That means we have here also the item count, I guess, and that is snapshot.data.length. This is exclamation mark. Fair enough. And if we create something, we create that list tile. And instead of E, we execute that on snapshot data on index. And the same thing for here. And removing all that stuff. If there are any questions, write them in the chat. I am just working here on fast mode, I could say. And this is, of course, always there because we have the data. To make it maybe a bit cleaner. Yeah, no, we could do that, but it doesn't work. Anyway, we get the problem anyway on the server side, not on the client side. So the question is, or probably the problem is that my query that I created is not allowed. So a get all is not easily, or it's not done like I did it. So we get this one, and it seems interesting enough, we don't fall into this part, we really fall into this part. Right? Because we don't get any error. So if I restart the app quickly. Oh, okay, and if I go now to Serverpod and update this. Nope. Don't get the info that I wanted. This is the Dart part, and here I don't get it either. I have to restart the server, maybe. So done that. Now let's try it again with the macOS and update. The client is not running anymore. Okay. Up here we run it again. Let's see. Okay, something happened, but we can't see anything. That could mean two things. Number one, that it's successful, everything works fine. And it seems, oh. No size, no size, no size. Okay, it drives a little bit crazy. Maybe I did not make the layout beautiful enough. So as I said, the problem is probably that the list view builder is inside of a column. So what I could do to avoid that is maybe make this expanded. So wrap builder with expanded. Expanded. Here we go. And with that, we have our live stream day. Great stuff. I think that's it, more or less. And then we can go further, right? We now we did that with a list view, which is pretty ugly because we don't have enough space for all the beautiful things. Like for example, we have here instead of the date, we could access the body, right? And then we can read that stuff. So if we don't make too long things, we have that. And if you know list view, then we can go even further and say, okay, we have here a trailing icon and could make that an icon button actually, where we pass in an icon like a trash bin, material icon, or how was it? Icons dot trash, or bin is better name, I guess. Bin. Was it not the bin? Delete. Perfect. Let's take this one. And that doesn't work because that is an icon. And then inside of the icon, we need the icon data. Something like that. And then we need probably an onPressed, which is a method where we print now delete. And with that, we have already this happening. So if we click that, now what we can do instead of printing delete, we could say that we access again our server, going to the journal endpoint, make a remove, future void remove entry. We pass in the session, and that has a problem. The body might be causing null to be returned, but return. Is it not void? Because it's a future. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, it's async, and then it's happy. Fair enough. I was able to manage to read from the database table. The problem here was that their data grip had a bug or something. I was on the Postgres database connection and not on the My Journal database connection. And with that, we were not able to... I created the table on the wrong database, more or less. And with that, we got errors there. By the way, LMK, the feedback of the extension, so I can develop it more. Yeah, with pleasure. So it would be... it's my pleasure to do that, actually. Remove entry. So to remove, it's journal.remove, delete session where. And now it's getting interesting. So I cannot take that. There needs to be a journal that needs to be deleted. And now I can say journal where P0. P0 is the table. And probably I can say something like ID is equal to journal.id. I cannot columns, list of columns, what column int to string? This is the table, so probably I need columns, and then here, no. Where element is a column. No, we don't want that. That's too complicated, probably. TID equals equals. Okay, very good. So yep, T up and dip, and T dot ID equals journal.id. Makes sense. Okay. So T stands for table ID. I'm not sure if the table or if we had to go to the columns, but probably that's correct what you say. Good. So we search inside of the table for all the IDs and checking them if they match with our journal ID, and then we delete that one. So if we do that, now we have to generate again. Probably, is there a generate Serverpod? Generate client code once. Good. The server's broken. Not anymore. Good. And now restart the server. Failed to create server socket. Failed to create server sockets. Server is down. There is no reason to be. Okay, it's already running. Created it twice now. Okay, gotcha. Good. Create it again. We got that. Remove entry, and now with that we can say in our client main.dart, instead of printing delete, we can now access again the client dot what was it? Journal dot delete entry, remove entry. And now we need to find the right entry, which is snapshot data exclamation mark index. And with that we are done. Right? That can be constant. So, and with that we should have a pretty much removed entry from the database already. And click. Probably it will not do anything because we have to restart then, and it's gone. So with that, let's set state. I can just do that here inside state. Set stage. Entry snapshot up and give it here, I think. Stuff like this. Good. Await? Ah, yeah. Good point. But I think in set state, I'm not allowed to do that, right? There was something that's asynchronous is not fine inside of a set state, or somehow was something is in my head that I didn't use set state for a long time. So I think what I should do is doing something like this. So then make the execution, wait for it, and when it is finished, then we want to set state with nothing, actually. Something like that. That's correct, right? Something in my head is there left over. Good. Something like that. And now we remove the entry and we would see that. So let's see if our app is actually working as we expected. So we have a journal entry that we can enter. So as I said, best day in my life. My life. The live stream went super well. We finished our journal app. And I can send it to the server. Perfect. I can update that. Thank you for the sub, Enzo. Great to have you. Thank you for your support as members, subscribers, and I love this frickin' community. Something like that. So sent. Great. And now let's remove that and it's gone. Perfect. And with that, we have the whole round trip. We have a full stack application because the cool thing is whatever I do now, if I close everything off and start again everything up, we have a full stack application. We create things on our server side. We have it locally on our client side. And what should I say? It's a big success, I guess, for today. For our first introduction into Serverpod, I'm really impressed. I know the setup was a little bit hiccup prone at the beginning, but you know, if you have old versions, it's always sometimes like that. If you have bigger environments, it's like that. This is just the way it works. And from now on, we could very easily set up our backend here because everything works. If we check this insights, I guess we get all the entries. We see how long they have running. As you see, here's, for example, a longer running. I think we had a debugging point here inside. The duration is quite low. The reason for that is obviously that we are working locally. So the distance between server and client is super small. So no problem with that. We have insights in the memory usage. We have insights in CPU usage, etc. pp. That's pretty much it. What we can say about Serverpod for the first glance, I would say. What did I learn personally? First of all, I know again how I can deactivate packages inside of my global namespace of Dart. I learned how I can set up this nice little server feature. I got to know the extension of Minu, and now I know that Minu is a collaborator on Serverpod, which I highly recommend and like. So open source is always great. The next time we can maybe have a look on how we can integrate that in a CI/CD, like GitHub Actions, for example, or we can even deploy it somewhere. I think that would be also pretty cool. With that, I think you have a very good understanding of what Serverpod is, how it works, and hopefully you can create your own full stack apps from now on. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Give me a like if you liked that video. I think an hour ago my podcast has been released, so if you like to hear it, you will find that on podcast.flutterexplained.dev. That is my website. And I love that. That was a pretty cool working together with you. Thanks so much for all the support in that live stream. I really liked it and enjoyed it. I hope we can do that live stream soon. If you have very good ideas for projects or things that we would solve, leave them also down in the comments. And now, without further ado, I am hungry. Now there is time for lunch and we see us the next time.